Hey guys, happy Monday. I'm a little late in posting this. Today's been kind of crazy and I haven't been home a lot. So, I'm going to answer two questions today. Number one, does therapy really help? And number two, what do you do if you can't afford treatment? I think that's a really important issue to address right now, especially with the economy the way it is and the fact that many Americans don't have health insurance, and unfortunately, we haven't caught on to the fact that universal health coverage can work, and I believe personally that health care is a right for all Americans. But I won't get on that soapbox right now. So, first of all, I'll answer the question, does therapy really help? That's a good question because the answer is yes and no. First of all, therapy can be helpful or detrimental depending on the therapist. If the therapist is somebody that you click with, that you connect with, and that understands your issue, then I think it can be very helpful. I've had both good and bad experiences with therapy. Second, most people I think do really well with therapy, but there are a certain percentage of people that get worse with therapy, although I would say that's probably not the majority. And in the case of eating disorders, I would say in most cases therapy is vital, and in fact a whole treatment team. But what do you do if you can't afford that treatment? Well, that's a really good question, because that is a fact for a lot of people. Or what if you don't live in an area where you don't have a lot of treatment options? So I would say the first thing that you need to do is to have support, no matter where you get it from, the right kind of support. So look around, think about your relationships, and think about people that you think you could trust and be safe talking to and telling, and help to educate them about your disorder and how to support you. And one of the ways that you can do that is you can go to the ANRED website, you can go to NEDA's website, the National Eating Disorder Alliance. I know the treatment center that I have gone to outpatient treatment for, Center for Change, has a lot of information on their website, centerforchange.com. They have a lot of information for families and how to support people that have eating disorders. So that would be the first thing that you should do is get a lot of educational material so that you understand, and that your family understands what they can do to support you. They need to realize that an eating disorder is not going to go away. They can't wish it away. It's more than, you can't say just eat a hamburger and you'll be fine. And most of us, all of us that have eating disorders understand that. Not everybody that doesn't have an eating disorder, a lot of people don't understand that. So it's vital to educate people how to support you, because a lot of times people, they have no clue, and they feel, people that are in relationships with somebody that has an eating disorder feel very helpless and don't know what to do. So educating your source of support and securing a source of support. Second of all, look around and see if there are any 12-step groups like Eating Disorders Anonymous groups. If there aren't, you could, sometimes people go to other like Alcoholics Anonymous. Even though it's a different addiction, eating disorders do follow a lot of the same patterns as substance addictions, and so if nothing else, finding a substance abuse support group or an Alcoholic Anonymous support group might be an option for you if you talk to them and let them know what's going on. Educational material that's out there. I'd recommend reading a lot of good books, like Life Without Ed is a really good resource to start with for understanding your eating disorder, intuitive eating. And there's another good book called Gaining by Amy Lee that that one really helped me in the beginning to really understand a lot of the issues underneath my eating disorder and a lot of the chemical issues that were going on. And also just to realize that, eating disorders are never about food or weight, even though it seems like they are because that's what we obsess about. It's really the insecurities and other things underneath that we are not dealing with. And especially if we've got trauma issues, that can play a major part. And so recognizing that, and then look around, do you have a church group? Do you have any kind of community support group that you're a part of that you can say, hey, I have this issue, and somebody that is going to support you after you've gathered this information and say, I really need help, but I can't afford treatment. Sometimes even, if you belong to some of these church groups, I know that the church group that I belong to, they'll provide therapy for people that can't afford it. If you go to, someone that's in the leadership sometime, just let them know that that's a need. A lot of times they'll make that funding and resource available because they want to help, and they may have referrals to. A lot of treatment centers are really good at working with providers like that. If you can find a support group, you may not, even if you can't afford treatment yourself, if you can find a support group of people that have eating disorders, a lot of them have been through treatment and are probably in different various stages of recovery. So that would be a really good resource to go to say, hey, I need a mentor, I need somebody that can kind of guide me through this because I can't afford treatment. If someone came to me, I've had quite a bit of therapy and treatment. If someone came to me and said, hey, I can't afford treatment, but I want to recover, I would be more than happy to be a support to that person and guide them to the right educational material. Of course, I'm not going to take the place of a therapist, but recovery, it is a decision, and you need support. And I think that's the most vital thing, is having the right kind of support and having somebody to talk to as a sounding board that can really understand what you're going through. So that's why finding a support group is really something that could be helpful. You might want to go to your local colleges, go look on the internet, see if there are a lot of eating disorder anonymous groups are they're becoming more of them because it's such a big problem. So see what resources are out there and educate, and just remember, if you're determined to recover, you can recover. I think it's very difficult and if not impossible to do without support, because during recovery you're going to go through times where you need that support. You're like at your lowest low and you think, I'm going to give up because I can't do this anymore, and that's when you call on your support system, and you need people around you to kind of buoy you up and say, no, you can keep going, and let me help you, and talk to me, let's talk through it. Call me when you feel like doing this behavior, whatever. Not that they're policing you, but that you can, because they shouldn't police you. I mean, that's the number one thing they should not do, is be the food police or ask you constantly, how are you doing, because that's not going to help you. But when you know that you can call them and you can set up boundaries and say, hey, when I'm going through this, I'd like to call you up and I would like you to do this, and they agree to be that support person, then that can really help you through it. As far as therapy goes, finding therapists, like I said, it's really important to find somebody who knows what they're doing, and so ask a lot of questions. Is treating eating disorders your specialty? Because if it's not their specialty, then I would strongly recommend that you either look for somebody else that it is their specialty, or that they are really open-minded and willing to learn about the disorder, and not just say some things like, well, you're just being stupid, and you could just start eating, get over this within 3 days, because it doesn't work that way. But there are some therapists that feel that way, or feel like people with eating disorders are selfish or hard to work with. You don't want a therapist like that. So, find somebody that is supportive and do your research. You're shopping for a therapist, take that power and say, this is for me. This is not to please the therapist. I'm not trying to please somebody. I'm trying to find somebody that can help me. And so find somebody that you can work with, that you jive with, that has your same value system. So have a good day.